Hi. How's it going? How are you guys? What's new? Happy Wednesday. Hey, welcome to the Miss Lillians paint page and my own page and YouTube. Woohoo! All the channels all at once. It's the way to do it anymore, right? Be everywhere. Hi, Ronnie. Today, I pulled this out of my stash. So this is a vintage. Look at this hardware. Like, you guys, they don't make things like this anymore, right? This kind of hardware is like the coolest ever. So I am going to use some colors. Now, it's funny, this is a really quirky piece. So it has a piece of slate, which weighs like 40 pounds. I mean, it's really heavy. I have a piece of slate that goes on top of it here. So this is like just, an empty hole. Of course, I don't have the slate on it right now because I would never be able to move it. But on top of the slate, on top of that, it's got this beauty. Okay, camera down. It sits on top of it, but it's got like this family crest on here. This is really old. This tile is beautiful, but to be honest, it's not going to really go with anything, right? It's not really what we want in our house. And it doesn't even match the slate that goes on the top of the piece. So we're going to work on this in a second. And I want to show that to you. It's really pretty. And then here's the piece of slate that goes on top of that, right? So it's like black and with some kind of like tan accents. So I thought we would grab some paint. And here's what I grabbed. Some colors. Now, whether I'm going to use them all, I'm going to get the fly swatter because this fly is going to drive me nuts. Are you guys, who else is right now? Let me introduce myself. Let's start over. I was a little frazzled a second ago. My name is Debbie Tona. I'm a content creator for Miss Lillians. And I have a beautiful brick and mortar store called Tona Transformations. I am located in Nampa, Idaho. So right out of Boise, which is our capital. This time of year, we're like in the 90s today. We were like in the 70s the other day. So we go up and down right for fall. The flies. Does anybody else have problems with the flies right now? Where do they come from? Where are they all summer? And then all of a sudden, 500 million of them hatch. Am I alone? Oh no, I cannot be alone in this. Why are flies on this earth? I mean, I know why. Let's get a little closer. So I want to show you a little trick that I use. This hardware does not come off. Like it's vintage. It's been on here for 100 years. So I really don't want to mess with it. It does have some screws in it. But the thing is if I were to take it off, more than likely I'm not going to get it to go back on the same way. So Vaseline, a little brush or your finger. And if you go over the top of the hardware with the Vaseline, your paint will not stick to whatever you got the Vaseline on. So try to keep the Vaseline. Oh, I just noticed there's like a spider web right here. Look at that. Can you see it? It's like a spider web right here. Isn't that pretty? That's kind of cool. Maybe it's not a spider web, but it's some kind of decoration. So Vaseline on the hardware. This will not allow the paint to stick. So if you do get paint on it, because I'm going to paint that without paint over everything, just lather it on there. And then it won't stick. Okay. That's your Tona tip for the day. So if you're following on my page or on Miss Lillian's page, let me know. Please comment during the live. It makes them so much more fun when people actually talk instead of just watch. So say hi. Let me know where you're from and how are the flies where you guys are. So lids, my lids are always stuck on because I don't if I put Vaseline around the rim before I put them on, they wouldn't stick. But If you take them and slam them really hard on the concrete, it'll loosen them, okay? So the color I'm going to do right now is called Urban Fog. It's this beautiful, light, soft blue. I'm going to just throw up a base coat on this, and then I think we're going to blend with these colors. What do you think? Like that combo? So I put those to the side. Put it back on. When I did a live last week, I spilled the entire thing of paint live. Or 2 weeks ago. So let's put the lid back on this time. Oh, yeah. So we are going to just take our brush and we're just going to quickly put a thin first coat. Whenever I blend a piece of furniture, I do like to put a base coat on first to ensure it just makes it easier for me. Remember, we put Vaseline on this, so this, wherever I touch with the paintbrush, it won't stick. And it won't really mess up my paint. Like, it's not going to get all over my brush because I'm going to try to not be crazy about it when I paint it. Make sure you get all 4 sides of your legs. I think I'll just do the front today because it'll be easier. So when I talk about a base coat, I don't want you to actually try to like glob the paint on, okay? Base coat should just be a coverage coat. They're not meant to cover everything, okay? I should put some Vaseline on these hinges in here too. That way we don't get paint on them because you know it's going to happen anyhow. The paint will all rub off. So I'll just take some Vaseline real quick. I'm just taking an old paintbrush and just painting it on. Use your finger, use an old paintbrush, use whatever you have. And now when I paint over the top, the paint won't stick and the hinges won't get all gunky. I never remove hardware from hinges from old pieces. I'm going to paint right over it because you will never get those doors back on the same. They won't hang the same. They're a pain. So I just rather paint over them. And a little bit of Vaseline goes a long ways. Yeah, you still might get some paint on it, but it's not going to be any big deal. Okay, so 1 coat. And it should be streaky, okay? It's okay if it's streaky because the first coat is just that. It's just a coat to get something on there to get so that the second coat will stick really well. And I puddled my paint right here in the edges, so I'm just going to take my brush really quick and clean those up. Okay. So we're just going to do the front. So you can see streaky, right? It's okay that it's streaky. It's not going to make or break it. Fly is going to drive me crazy. It's not going to really matter. I'll put a little bit more paint on there. Okay, first coat done. Now, while that is drying, it shouldn't take but a hot minute. Let's work on what to do with this thing. Now, we're only going to, let me pull this up. Just lean it right here against this one. All right, so this is that top. Hi, Gary Ann. So this is tile, ceramic tile. It is very old and vintage. I tried everything I could think to save it, but it's pretty green, but this right here is what throws you off, right? I could just tape it all off and just paint this, but I really didn't want to paint this piece with a green hue, so we're just going to paint over it. So what I've done is I've grabbed a Miss Lillians product called Pro Stick Primer. What it is it's a bonding primer. When applied, will allow us, oh geez. This is my day, you guys. I've got paint all over me. Guess why? Because I broke the lid earlier and I'm shaking it. And guess what? The paint is flying everywhere. Ever have one of those days? Having one. Okay. So here I am shaking it like a mad woman, and there it is flying out. Let's shake it with Let me grab another little container. So this is a primer that you put 2 coats on, and the instructions say 1 to 2 coats, allow 3 to 8 hours to dry, and 1 hour in between coats. So basically, we're going to get 1 coat on. It comes in different colors. I happen to have the gray with the broken lid. And pour a little bit into our container. Okay. And basically, it's just going to be a bonding primer that allows, when it's dry, after 2, I'm going to do 2 coats. It's going to allow us to paint over this and not this. It's not going to come off, because if you did not prime or put some kind of a bonding primer down first, you would not be able to paint over the top. You would, and it would look fine, but anytime you touched it, it would totally come off, and we don't want the paint to come off. Now, this middle part right here, this medallion, I am thinking I will probably do like a piece of wood you bend or a paper clay mold over the top right here, which of course will have to be done after I have primed it. So this, I just wanted to show you, if you want to paint like your kitchen countertops or something like that, this Pro Stick primer will work for you. It is a bonding primer. Make sure that you wash your brushes after you use this stuff, because guess what? It's meant to be a bonding primer. It'll bind right onto those brushes and ruin them lickety split. Okay, 1 coat. We have to wait, well, how many hours did it say? It says allow 1 hour between. So we will only be able to do 1 coat. Put the rest of the paint back in. I paint glass in that all the time and use bonding primers, and they're pretty remarkable. The best thing about this is that this is not a high use thing, but we're going to be able to take it, switch it up, and give it a new look. And you're never going to know. I don't know whose family crest is on there or was on there and what that even means. I haven't a clue. I'm going to go throw this in some water. Give me 2 seconds because I don't want to ruin my brush. And then I'm going to start blending some paint on the front of that piece. Okay. That stuff sticks because it's already stuck to my hand. Normally when you apply a chalk-like paint, it does come off pretty easily. That stuff really does stick. So good stuff. You put this out of the way. Since we can't second coat it, so later on I will second coat, then I will do a blend over it, and we'll put some kind of something in the middle, give it some pretty look. What do you guys think about that? All right. Put you back up. So this is pretty much dry now. So when I look at this and I think of the color of the top, I'm thinking some warm colors. Like I pulled these 2 out. This is Lena. This is Chanel. Lena and Chanel went together on a skiing trip. And then the first one we used was blue. So I'm going to grab another brush. I'm not sure how much of the blue I'm going to incorporate in here. Like I said, post questions. If you have any questions, let me know. Say hi to me. There's nothing worse than doing a whole live and not one person like making a comment. It's like talking to yourself. But I'm good at talking to myself, so I'm fine with that. But it's more fun when people actually get involved. Unless you just want to look. You want to look through the window and not say a thing. Okay, let's put the lid back on. So that's a little bit of Lena. And a little bit of Chanel. Chanel. I wonder how they came up with that name. Only Chanel I can think of is the Coco Chanel, right? Designer. So. I know it must be hard to name all these paints. Marilyn, that owns Miss Lillians, if you're on here, how did you come about naming all those names? That must be crazy. trying to name. We have like 200 colors. How did you come up with all the last names, right? Okay, let's paint. Put you as close as I can so you can see what I'm doing. So we've got the blue that we started with in this thing over here. Let's just lay down another coat. Can I show you how well the second coat goes on? Boom. Remember, Miss Lillians is a no wax chalk paint. What that means is once this dries, it's done. We don't have to top coat it. We don't have to wax it. It has a slight eggshell to satin kind of finish. So it's not a flat like a lot of other chalk paints. Flat finish, but it does have, it's not shiny either. So it's just kind of really that really nice little bit of a luster shine. Okay. So I thought we might throw in some of these other two colors on top of this. Chanel. Oh, that's pretty. When you blend, it's always good to keep your surface a little damp. It helps your paint to move. So I'm just going to go ahead and softly add some of the Chanel into this. I do want to still keep the blue as the star. And when I'm dipping my brush, I literally am only dipping like a corner. Like this is how much paint. Like, right? Not a lot. Let's add a little bit of the Lena, see where we're at. A lot of times when I blend, I just play until I get the look that I want. I don't want this to be like a severely blended piece. I want it to be a subtle blended piece. Does that make sense? So maybe a little bit of little Chanel around the outside. I kind of like this brown color with the blue. It's pretty. It's just kind of like going to highlight it a little bit, give it a little bit of oomph. So where it's not just flat, right? We can look into it. Does that make sense? Hi, Ronnie. How's it going, honey? So the blue is wet because we just did it on there. And we're just going to keep adding. And we're talking, when I blend, little tiny dots of paint. Can you even see the little bit on my brush? I'm not adding a ton of paint. I think the biggest thing that people get stuck with when they first start to blend is they add like so much paint on their brush, and little paint actually helps you move it along better, right? A little paint goes a long ways. Like we're talking just, I don't even think you can see it. Can you see it? See the little bit of brown paint. Chanel. This brown is very beautiful with this blue. Now the blue paint is still a little damp. So what that is allowing me to do is allowing me to pull both colors into each other. This piece, I will finish and post it next week, Wednesday, the finished part of it on Miss Lillians' page for you guys to see. Because we won't get the top done, and I won't, of course, have the what you call it, the top of it with, I need to put something on it. So I'm going to pull a little bit of that white, and I may not need the white. Let's put it in the middle right here and just kind of feather it out. I am using a Klingon 040 brush. It is my brush of choice. Use whatever brush works for you. But mine are really old and they're fat, so they work really well for this kind of thing. I'm going to go back in. I noticed that maybe I need a little more brown right here. The Chanel. This is Chanel. I'm going to go over here and let's add some of that blue. This color was called Urban Fog. Look at how well that second coat goes on when you paint it, right? Isn't that crazy how well and easy it goes on? And basically, if you don't want to blend and you just want to paint this all Urban Fog, you basically let it dry and you're done. It can't get any easier than that. This paint is designed for furniture painting. You can also use it for crafting, any kind of thing like that. The 8-ounce jars, I mean, they're perfect. Just use a little bit. It doesn't take a lot of paint when you blend. You don't have to have huge jars of paint. Not necessary. So you can buy more of the smaller colors, a variety. And I posted my link. If you're on Miss Lillians' page, I have posted my affiliate link on there. You can buy paint direct from Miss Lillians. She'll ship it out right away. If you are watching on my page, you can go to my website to order paint. Or if you're local, you can just come in the store. I do have a retail store in Nampa. So I'm taking my blue brush, the one that I had the blue in, and just going over it slightly. So what it's doing, it's softening that chenille, because notice how it's darker right here than right here. And now that I look at it, I put it way more dark on this side than this side. So let's go back over here. I'm not sure which one I like. Do you like it heavier or lighter? You guys vote. The heavier side, like with more brown, or lighter, more subtle. I don't even think I really need to use that off-white color, that Nina color. I kind of like it with a little more of the darkness because it gives it more depth. Let's add a little more. Let's go back. So that's the thing. If you think you need to add a little bit more, go right here. And whenever I do blend, I do with all the drawers in, the doors closed. You don't have to, that's up to you. But in order to have a continuous blend, the easiest way is to just have your piece like put together and then blend on it. It makes it more like go with what it is. So if you're painting a dresser and you are trying to blend everything together, you don't want to like take the drawers out and put them on the ground, because they won't match up when you put them back in. So I'm going back in with a little bit of the urban fog. This fly. If you guys could even see this fly right now. He knows that I'm live and that I want to kill him. We're allowed to say that on Facebook. I'll probably get kicked off for saying that. He landed. Wait, don't move. Nobody breathe. I missed it. He landed right on top of my piece. I thought I was going to get it. So it's as simple as just a few little strokes of color. What do you guys think? I mean, super easy. Not a lot of work to get to a really pretty, soft blend. Let's do the legs. Scoot it back a little bit so you can see them. I think I might need to put a little more paint in my container. You guys, I did the whole front and I didn't even need all that paint. I'll use it for the sides. I need to put Vaseline on my jars. So here's a really good another tip. If you're like me and you don't clean off your jars when you use them and you pour the paint out of them, take some Vaseline, right? A dollop of Vaseline, and actually go run it around the rim of your jar, even after you got all the cake or the paint caked on like I do. And then they won't stick next time. Vaseline's a wonder. It's a must-have in your painting arsenal. Just go grab a little bit of it. So because here, you know, I always do it and then the paint like drips down, right, and gets all cakey. Nobody got time to clean jar lids. So when you put Vaseline on it, now it goes on and off and it won't dry. The paint won't dry on there. The legs. We could come up a little bit darker on the legs. That might be pretty. Add a little bit more of that chenille. Come up. It's kind of like a latte color. That's what it reminds me of, like a coffee with a lot of milk in it. I bet you have a paint called latte too. There's so many names of paints. I'm sorry, but I have not memorized all of them. There's so many paints in this line with Miss Lillians. So kind of push your brush all the way through the whole thing. Now that made it really dark in the middle. So you can see the difference now. I made it darker on this side and bluer on that one. I'm gonna go back with my blue right now. Put it in there. I'm gonna grab the brush that had the brown on it. And I'm gonna feather that out. You don't have to go only up and down and add a little water, just a little. And I'm just using a fine mist sprayer so that it's just barely any water. You don't want to saturate your paint. And if you just have a super light hand and a light touch, you can just blend out the middle. And there you go. You got it highlighted again. So if you were adding tons and tons of paint, guess what will happen? You just have a muddy mess. So lesser paint when you blend is always better. And this side looks different now. Which is fine. I'm not supposed to be perfect, but sometimes I just play with things until I figure out like how I want them to look. You just sit here and brush back and forth. It's very, very satisfying, to be honest with you, to just kind of brush back and forth. This one needs more now. See that? This one's darker than that one. We'll get it together eventually. That's the beauty about paint, right? It's paint. You just keep going until you get it to where you want it to be. Then brown now. How now, brown cow? Yeah, this is a very pretty latte taupey color. Very beautiful. I like how soft it is. It's very soft, right? Very soft. A little bit of water. If we want to just blend it out here, maybe around the door a little bit. A little bit more blue in the middle. Brush them sideways, brush them up and down. I just like how like soft and subtle this one is. There we go. That's a little bit. Now they match again. So if you get it so it doesn't match, keep playing with it. What I like to do when I teach classes is I will have my students, and this is what is a really good thing for you guys to do, is to go buy yourself one of those used cabinet doors, right? From like a restore store or a thrift store. And when you're trying to figure out how to blend and what colors go with what I like to do is take a door. This one's been painted on a million times, right? Every time I have a class, we lay out paint and I'll be like, okay, put one layer of paint down. So say this Lena color, which is this off-white, right? Beautiful color. Lay it down and then grab the other color that you want to blend with it and put it next to it, and then just lightly bring it in, and you see what the third color becomes. You get that? And then say we have the blue. Same thing. Add it on there, and then just kind of let your brush. So then you know that, wow, these three colors are beautiful together, right? It's as simple as that when you're trying to lay out color patterns. And you don't need a lot of paint to do it. Oh, perfect. So what did you guys think? This was super easy, super fun, and super fast. Like it wasn't even a long, it didn't take me no time at all to get this thing painted. It's not a very big piece. So while the paint is wet is the best time to blend. Makes the paint smoother. I'm going to show you on this right here. Remember how we put Vaseline on that? Let's dry this really quick so I don't mess it up. I want to show you what it looks like after we take it off. So we can dry the door because I want the paint to dry. And you can still distress it if you want. You could darken it with some glaze. You could still add wax if you wanted to, if you so inclined, like a dark wax. But this will dry to a beautiful, like eggshell not quite satin, but more of an eggshell look. And it is really pretty. Super hard, durable finish. Okay. So remember we put Vaseline on there? Let me put you right up next to it. We put the Vaseline on it. We grab a paper towel. See what happens? The Vaseline now has allowed us to pull the paint right off. Okay. So that we don't lose that beautiful antique piece. Now, if I didn't get Vaseline in all the right spots, that's fine too. You can use some steel wool and take the rest off. But really, or really like right now, since the paint isn't all the way really hardened and cured, it comes right off. So use Vaseline. It's a trick, an old trick, and it will help your paint not stick where it's supposed to. It also helps unstick your jars, which we all need some unstuck jars because all mine are stuck. I need like an assistant that just comes around and puts Vaseline on all of my jars. So if you guys have any questions, post them here, post them on my page, post them on my YouTube. I will get back to you. I will answer you. And let me know what you thought. Is these colors that you would like to use? Let's go over what we did. I used Urban Fog. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful blue. Love this blue. We used Chanel. And I grabbed Lena, but I really didn't use it. So I wouldn't even need this one. We didn't really need it. So basically 2 colors. Okay, fly. Die. Got him. Finally. I'm sure his friends will be by in just 2 seconds. So let me know if you have questions, if you guys enjoyed it, if you have colors that you want me to paint next time, put them in the comments. Say, Debbie, I'd like to see, this combination. I blend on here every 2 weeks. That's what I like to do. That's what I've been asked to do. So I try to do it for you guys. And if you have questions, let me know. You won't know unless you ask. Okay, you guys, my name is Debbie Tona. And as I say every week, after my lives, you know what? Go out and be fabulous. Have a great day. Hug those babies. And we will see you here live again 2 Saturdays. Gosh, not next Wednesday, but the Wednesday after. I will post finished pictures next Wednesday. Hey, guys, have a great